He's an artist after my own heart. From his incredible selection and assortment of printed media, from magazines to books, he channels some amazing artists through his paintings. You'll see his work in the new Cedar Rapids Museum of Art's Lore of the Local show, which you must see. And hopefully you will understand his work at the soul level like I have. And if it really moves you, it'll bring you to tears, as it has done for me. In this segment of Frame, we were meeting local painter Bill Stamats. Thank you for having us in your studio, Bill.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on Frame and sharing your work.
You bet. Isn't that pretty?
That's
gorgeous.
Really wild. It's so decadent.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's what I love. It's so
Look at that acid yellow kind of color.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So there's this one. And then I have a ton more. I'll just pull some out there. Leopard scan paper. And I'm a paper maker. I mean, I did a lot of paper making in grad school. So I worked with Tim Barrett, the Center for the Book, where I scribe was Center for the Book. That's cool.
They're really, really cool.
So they end up in my... The paper's a huge part of what I do, and also influences the work quite a bit. Okay, for that one. Isn't that cool?
That is really cool.
Yeah. So then I like it sometimes if it's really a little bit translucent, because then the paint comes through. So on this piece over here, it has all that coming through. You can see how that tiger stripe. I mean, who would use tiger stripe with the hummingbirds? But it works. And this piece is all about the verticality. So it's all about up and down. And so I did it this way. And then I'll stencil on top. So I have a bunch of stencils. So there's also a lot of stenciling going on. So this is all stenciled gold, and those little dots are stenciled, and then I trick the eye by then also putting these little round mirrors on. So that's a stencil in the background. And this is right in here, more of the handmade paper coming through, right? So, but it just becomes part of the piece. It's not overt, like, I'm doing collage. It's just all part of the painting.
Right.
So I view paper as a layer of paint.
So what's the intention of tricking the eye with the glass mirrors? I want to make sure
I think it's a nice visual, and I think that it also just relates to the whole idea of they found them above the clouds. This is a trippy piece in the first place, you know, they're all kind of up there. I'm essentially bedazzling. So, right, so they're bedazzled. Yeah, they're bedazzled. So, I mean, but that's, you know, but it makes it just a little more intrigue, just a little more, and it's fun because when you walk by, especially with the high gloss, like the super uber gloss, then that surface is really shiny, and then when those jewels work with that, it all kind of comes together and works really well. It's glossy flossy. This chandelier is just that whole idea of the opulence, you know, the overdone in society, and then the title in this one, you know, they knew it was all about her chandelier. Well, I mean, that's obviously, you know, the whole status symbol thing. And then I really just went after that from just making it obscure and wanted to kind of mess with the paint and make it not just, you know, really literal, but just sort of playing with the paint and stuff. So there's stenciling, there's still stenciling in there. You can see the stenciling there. And there is some handmade paper in there, although it's not real evident.
You can really see the texture, the layers.
Right,
and
exactly.
the base.
Yeah.
So you get really close to it.
Yeah, but I want it dripping and just, you know, overdone and all that stuff on there.
Let
you know,
them eat cake.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Let them eat cake. I really need one more chandelier for my house.
right.
One more.
Black ground, and then started building the surfaces up with color, and I finally got to the white. And so I was doing these flowers sort of in the background. I didn't want them to be really overt. Again, they're there and they're sort of cloud-like and they're back there, but they're not way forward. And then put the main characters in the painting on the surface. And the other thing I am is layering up these stencils too. And the last thing I'm doing is bringing in, you know, the titles, and the titles for me are very important. I view those titles and the artists that inspire me, I look a lot at Barbara Kruger and Jenny Holzer because they're really good word artists. It does lead you down a path, but not really. It's profound, but you know, where are you going to go with it? I view the way artists make paintings sort of like I'm starting the dialogue. So the titles help start the dialogue, but I'm not ending the dialogue. The dialogue is really you as a viewer are now completing the dialogue or adding to the whole dialogue that the painting has started, right?
Yes.
So in a lot of ways, it's like social media, isn't it?
Yes.
So, right, you start a tweet and someone then builds off of that, or you put something on Facebook and other people like it or not, or comment on it. Now, there's the aspect of that, which is interesting, is that you're also a little bit vulnerable because you may not always get a positive response. You may get, but everyone now who's doing social media stuff kind of knows how an artist feels when you put it out there and have people comment. It's a pretty good analogy, actually.
It is a really great analogy.
Yeah.
So then my question comes, does it make you stronger? Do you still feel a little vulnerable?
Yeah, but you know, you better have a pretty good intestinal fortitude if you're going to do this and not be too sensitive about it. This dude who's this designer in New York, and I just love just completely overdone rooms, just pattern decoration just layered on there, and that's sort of my inspiration for a lot of this work right now. So I look at a lot of pattern decoration artists, Joyce Kozloff, people from the 70s and people like that. And then the animals, I look a lot at Walton Ford. I don't know if you're familiar with his work. He does these amazing watercolors. I got one. Oh, right here. This is Walton Ford.
Okay.
So I look at his stuff a lot. This is just a huge watercolor, and he does these great pieces that are obviously comments on social comments and using the anthropomorphic and making commentary on culture, society. So he's wonderful. So he's another one of my inspirations too. I'm looking at different people for different reasons, and then they all kind of inform the work for different reasons. Sean got the piece for the museum, which was the big she-wolf, you know, and a lot of people, I noticed younger people like it a lot. Older people are like, no, really don't like that very much. So, I mean, hey, I just have to deal with it. I mean, that's just the way it is.
But that's your vision, it's your interpretation of your moment. Right. It's a little startling.
It's a little startling. It is. And again, you know, because I use these animals and they're all someone I know or they take on a persona of someone. And so that she-wolf was a persona of someone I know, a relative who's pretty judgmental when they come in our house or in someone's house, pretty sanctimonious. And it's like, they're coming and going, well, I don't know if I like that or not. So, you know, she found it also distasteful. Well, okay, fine. So that was how I viewed it. But that's not how everyone takes the piece. Well, that whole piece started with doing the mouth. The pink gums were important because then that particular pink, which is a horrible Pepto-Bismol pink, this color right here is just awful. But it was the basis right, exactly. It was the basis to the whole painting. I mean, I use a color generally and mix it with all the colors in the piece.
Thank you for tuning in. Frame is sponsored by Allegra, Click Marketing Solutions, Style Folio Jewelry,